This Beyond Clean Articles on the Go feature is titled The White Lies of White Papers: Why They Don't Do What You Think They Do. Written by Hank Balch, founder and president of Beyond Clean. In case you accidentally stumbled on this article out in cyberspace, I'm talking about white papers in the sterile processing industry. I don't have any clue about their impact in other corners of healthcare or other corporate niches, and I don't pretend to. But in the sterile processing world, I am going to say what 99.9% of our frontline professionals already know. And I dare you to prove me wrong. No one reads white papers. I'm serious. If you're writing a white paper to convince a sterile processing user about anything at all, you're probably wasting your time. If you don't believe me, do your own survey of your closest sterile processing department. If they've got 30 employees, including leadership and technicians, I'd bet the farm that nary a one has read a single white paper in the last year. And that trend would carry true across the entire U.S., with very limited exceptions. Why not? Before I give you some reasons for why this is the case, let me walk you back off the cliff just a little bit. There are actually lots of folks who read white papers who don't work in the sterile processing department. If you're listening to this article, you're probably one of them. Vendors read them. Your competitors read them. Other scientists and researchers read them. But if at some point along your career you got the impression that anyone wearing PPE for 8 hours a day in an 80-degree decontamination room is going home to fire up their computer to digest your latest white paper, I want some of whatever it is that you're smoking. It just ain't happening. But the question you really need to know the answer to is, why not? Is it because our technicians aren't interested in learning? Because they don't want to know about the new innovations or better ways of doing things? That couldn't be farther from the truth. In reality, there is a veritable revolution of sterile processing education and learning going on right now, right before our eyes. Our frontline technicians and leaders could not be hungrier for real professional meat than they are today. So why not read your white paper? Here are just a few reasons. Accessibility. Where do they even find sterile processing white papers? For the folks in the trenches, even being aware of your white paper is a real challenge because it's nowhere they are, i.e. social media. Readability. For good, but also detrimental reasons, your white paper is boring to read. That's good for scientific communities who demand standard formatting, language, and data. It's bad if you want a normal person to read it, understand it, and most importantly, enjoy it. If it's not enjoyed, it won't be finished and definitely won't be shared. Credibility. Can it be trusted if everyone has their own white paper? If you do find that diamond in the rough SPD professional who has read a white paper here and there, you might hear some flavor of distrust in the whole process. After all, if a competitor has their own white paper, which white paper wins? The longest, most boring one? What now? I really wrote this article to start changing the minds of the small cadre of vendors out there who are tying all their hopes and dreams of disrupting the sterile processing industry to the publication of their next big white paper. The truth is, they just don't do what you think they do, at least not for the people you think you're reaching. But listen, it's not all doom and gloom. There is tremendous hope for you, for your innovative widget, unprecedented chemical, or killer new process, and there are countless ways that you can strike at the heart of our industry almost overnight. The best of all, 99.9% of your competitors aren't doing it, which leaves you free to change the entire freaking game before they know what hit them. Go ahead, write your white paper tomorrow, but then spend the next 364 days telling that big, beautiful story through creative social media content that educates, informs, and inspires frontline sterile processing technicians in a format that is accessible, consumable, and gives real, tangible value. That is how you change hearts and minds. White papers show you care about your product. Content shows you care about your customers. Which one do you think is going to move the needle for your team?